How are you lads? This episode of the Guinness Guru show coming at you from the Big Apple, NYC. I sat down with Johnny Kennedy. He's an absolute character. He opened up the Long Hall pub in 2015 in Manhattan and then the Westbury in the last kind of year or two. And I thought it'd be fascinating to hear about how much of a mad bastard he would have to be to move over to New York about 20 years ago, work in a load of different bars, work his way up and finally buy a place and then buy a second place. So this is his story. I hope it keeps you somewhat entertained for the next half an hour or so. This episode is sponsored by my good friends at Suns. Suns are a men's healthcare brand that offer clinically proven licensed hair loss treatment for less than the price of a pint of Guinness a day. Sure, if you're like me lads, the hair is gone to shite, you're hanging on to it, you've looked up all your options, you see that a hair transplant is going to cost you an absolute arm and a leg. And Suns are proud to be the only company to offer home delivered hair loss solutions to Irish men. So you just take a 1-minute online consultation, they'll tell you how bad the situation is, and then they'll make up a tailored treatment plan with 4 different products: a tablet, a vitamin, a spray and a shampoo, and they'll be delivered discreetly to your door. No contracts, no shite like that. So if you're one of the 20% of men who start to go bald in their 20s, or you've made it to your 30s and their hair's starting to thin out, go to suns.ie or suns.co.uk, use the code PINTS40 to get 40% off your first order. That's €95 or £80 off of a 6-month plan. I'm with you, my baldy brothers. Alright lads, so here I am outside the Westbury pub. I'm going to go in and talk to Johnny. He's one of the fellas who co-owns I think the Westbury and the Long Hall. I'm going to very much try to not make this just a big walking advertisement for the pubs. I genuinely want to get the story of how someone came over here 20 years ago and is now running 2 pubs in New York City. Let's go.
What do you want to pull it away there? Go ahead.
I want you to talk me through it.
How the fuck do I know? She's the bartender.
Just stand there beside me.
Yeah, we can.
I'll pour it like.
Yeah. We can joke about it like.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right.
Fucking more jokes the better.
How are you? No, go ahead. Unless you're illegal. Are you illegal? It's immigration, so go ahead.
Right, Johnny.
Darren, nice to meet you, man.
Thanks for coming on.
No problem.
First things first, I'm going to pour a pint. I always pour a pint on my podcast.
Okay.
So I presume it's the exact same as back home. 45-degree angle.
Well, it all depends how busy you are, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, is it going to the bar or is it going to the floor?
Yeah.
That's a little tip for people, you know what I mean? Sometimes you're at the floor and you think, jeez, I got that a bit quick, didn't I?
Is that like a speed thing?
No, we wouldn't do it that way. I'd be adamant not to do it that way, but 45 degree.
Yeah, the usual spiel.
You know how to pull it better than most, I'm sure.
I wouldn't say that, but...
That sounds like it's the first one as well.
It did, there was a bit of a...
Oh, you see, because they use this tap a lot. That's all right, but this man will be getting this point, will he? No, this will be yours, actually.
This will be mine. You happy with that?
I'd be delighted with that.
Yeah, grand.
As in where you've left it to as well. So I'd have bartenders come along, and I get young bartenders coming over from home, and we're the best pub in Tipperary, and this is how we do it.
Yeah.
And you get all this, and I'm like, I don't give a shit, just get it out.
And what would they, like, because usually you'd have the real Guinness glasses, but
so
I know
they
you
gauge
can't,
it by
the heart.
Okay, yeah.
But then you get old lads back in Ireland who would put it literally to there.
Well, that's what some of the young kids have done here.
Is that right? Yeah.
And I've seen that, and I'm like, and one of them recently said to me, and believe me, they know more than me.
Yeah.
And one of them said to me about, the taste off the gas from it.
Yeah.
And I was like, again, you'd know more about that than I do.
Yeah.
But some of them would come up a high. To me there now, if that was me, I would say you're just above what I would like.
Okay, so you go even lower.
I would go a little lower, and that's probably because I'd be used to serving at a service bar where it's going to the floor.
Yeah.
So the reason I would do that, so if it got a little bit, so let's say it was sitting there for not too long, but if it got back to black, say if it's black, I've longer to give it another hit.
True.
And then it's starting to build again as it's going to the table.
Yeah, instead of just...
Again, I've never been told that. That's just my own silly logic on it.
Yeah, instead of just giving it a little one of these that you would if it was...
Yeah, so if it was right in front of you or something like that. But I'd say that probably is perfect.
Yeah.
The problem a lot of the time is how quick lads go back to it.
Yeah.
Like some bartenders would come back to that and they'd see that and they'd be in a hurry and they'd throw it out. Now, I'd be a little bit anal about Guinness.
Yeah, that's the mad thing, isn't it? Like when, like you said, you can just stand in a tiny bit.
Sorry, yeah. Yeah, where's the crossover? Like, where do you leave it? Like?
Yeah, and it's like I myself even have been in mad busy bars, and I remember one time like Christmas Eve down in the local, and I just went up and said, give me 2 pints, I just poured them straight.
Yeah.
I felt like it was fucking blasphemy, but like,
yeah,
you're standing there, if
but
you're in a rush,
what is it, like, who started it, like, you know?
Well, it's just Guinness, it's just the marketing, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
It's the 190.
Well, it's a bit like we're in a golf bar, so I'll use a golf analogy, like, whoever said to pull this thing back.
Yeah.
You could have just, baseball players start up here.
Yeah.
Why do golfers start here and come back? Like,
Yeah, I know.
someone did it and then everyone else followed.
But it's literally, and now Guinness, and it's like the 119.5 seconds. So it's just pure marketing shite. Like.
Now that'd be about the first time, that'd be the earliest I'd go at it now. As in, I'd go on top of it now. That'd be the earliest I would. I'm not saying do it. And you can still see it's still coming now. Like them owl lads you mentioned at home, they're the lads we all fear, like.
Yeah.
That owl lad is who you fear, like.
Yeah, you know? Big time. Right, so I'll go for it. And do you have any preference, forward or back? I was about to use
yeah, you can use that one. Again, you see, this again is also like, if I hear it, the gas is really good in it.
Right.
This sounds super, right? I'll give it I'll give it 2 that way, and I'll top it off with that, because I feel that it's giving it a good hit. But that's what the young fella pulled me on. And in fairness to him, he was like, yeah, but now you're giving it more gas, the taste is a little different. Yeah. And I'd never heard that before, and I wasn't saying he was wrong, but I was like, okay.
Well, I'll just do it my own normal way.
That's what I would do to there.
I would just go.
And you would go all the way with that.
Yeah.
So what do you think this is for then?
People say, it gives it more gas and it makes it come out slower, but
that's
a lot of owl lads that I've
would prefer it that way.
They don't even bother pushing it forward.
Yeah, no, that's good to know. I'm asking as in for my own thing. I would say when it's pouring very high, which it often does happen sometimes, something with the gas.
As in a big head or a small head?
Big head. When it's pouring high, you can't get in control of it. The room is a bit warm or something. Then I would sort of push it like that, and you're kind of now you're getting none of it. And that's kind of a little cheat then, to keep a decent head on it.
You're just getting the sort of dark liquid and not the actual
exactly, so it's
cream.
Keeping a decent head on it.
Right.
The Barry's tea was much easier to make, by the way. I just made a Barry's tea myself.
Right, we'll go over here and we'll have a chat.
I'll bring you
Barry's tea.
around
the front.
Yeah, where did I leave my tea? I was down here. Debbie, you have a green card, you can stand there. Shit, let me grab this real quick, can I?
Yeah. So man for a phone call.
Martin, all good? Okay, perfect. Thanks for that, Martin. Talk to you.
That's a bit of a damage close up while the busy man is on the phone. It looks pretty much the exact same as the one I had the other day.
Barry's tea.
Yeah, I've never seen
tea bag in the glass. Very much an industry thing. You'll always see that in hotels. Don't know where I got
Barry's
that from.
tea in like a beer glass.
Yeah.
Strange. Sláinte.
Cheers. Nice meeting you there. Thank you. Yeah, kind of looks like I'm drinking bleeding Jameson or something, doesn't it? Straight or something.
The hard stuff. Yeah. You were saying you stopped drinking 5 years ago. Is that?
Yeah.
I never know. Is it rude to ask someone like why you would?
It's kind of weird, isn't it? Yeah. I suppose people. We always think. Now, if I'd have said I didn't drink, that the fact that I told you I stopped 5 years ago, that probably made your first question easier.
Yeah.
If I'd have said I don't drink, then everyone's always wondering, did someone get killed or mainly a combination health issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a couple of pancreas issues, mainly from food and drink. But it wasn't that I was a huge drinker. It was more of a you probably see it like a bad lifestyle. New York.
I mean it makes complete, like when you said it, I was like, that makes so much. Yeah. Like to be in the bar trade for a while and then to just give it up, like because you just. Like I was in every bar I've been in around here, like you see the staff and they might be on their lunch and having a beer and all, and it does that all add up, like, you know what I mean? So it's easier to just go.
It's very common. It's more common than people think that people are in the bar business don't drink.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense.
And the other ones that probably still drink are probably better at controlling it, or then some of them are probably haven't realised yet it's time to give it up.
Yeah, fair enough. And I don't think you have to be getting locked, like making a show of yourself every night. But like you said, just the general health issues. Like here's me fucking going around drinking pints for a living.
But equally the problem I found, and this is probably like it's a real New York thing, is people come to see people as such as see bars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They'll go because Johnny's there, Cottle's there, or someone is there.
Yeah.
Or they're going because Debbie's in. Like these guys just walked in here.
Yeah,
Believe me, like there's another bar 2 doors away.
Yeah.
They used to drink there, but they've met Debbie now, and then they come because Debbie's here.
Yeah.
That becomes a thing.
You were saying the other day about the whole like I've loads of questions in terms of like difference between Irish and American bar culture, but you were kind of saying over here the bartender is nearly like the most respected person in the bar, and the owner is just kind of not really in the picture.
Yeah, very much so. I would think I think you and I spoke about it a little bit briefly the other day. the buyback system,
Yeah.
which for people that don't know is a kind of an old cultural thing that you'd buy your first 3 drinks and the barman would buy you back your 4th one.
Yeah.
Hence, that's what you're tipping them for.
Okay, yeah.
So you're basically tipping them for the price of the drink, you could say. Now, if you sit there and have 20, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Do you get one every 4?
Yeah.
In some bars you would, like in an old school way. But there again, if the guy's drinking Middleton, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. And would you think that's more of an older thing, or would it still apply, like?
I think it's a neighbourhood thing now, would still apply, but there's also still a bit of leg room then for you to take care of regulars.
Yeah.
Like if regulars are in on their own at a certain time.
Yeah.
But the difference now from when I got here, say 22 years ago, 20 odd years ago, they don't look for it now. Years ago they would nearly be telling you,
Yeah.
this is my fault.
It's like, I'm not producing my wallet, it's like, I'm getting that for free.
But has the buyback died because the cash has died? Because your man's now not paying me every time.
Yeah,
so
and
back
they
in the day,
just- Oh yeah, because here we might just move over here.
I was going to say they've just got a little loud there beside us.
Yeah, the buyback thing, because now it's always like, and I also want this video to be for lads who are the typical Irish person coming over for a few days, because if it's your first time, it's quite a lot.
Oh, I'd have great tips on that.
To understand like the tax and the tipping and all that. But first of all, the whole tab system, like you go up and they'll generally say, well, I start your tab.
Yeah.
And then you can either, so talk me through that, and then you can just pay for the one.
Well, again, that's a cultural thing word, because we hear tab and we think we're going to pay it next Friday with our doll.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you hear tab, you walk out the door.
You put me in the book.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Because
it's a tab, but it's literally just like when you go, it's kind of, I think it's kind of treated the same. If you go out to a restaurant or you go to a bar, it's treated the same. You pay at the end. Whereas we're just used to paying for a point
as
of time.
we go, yeah.
So it's like a big level of trust or something.
Yeah, and
I trust that I'm going to have 100 quid in my card to pay after.
In New York, they want to lure your inner thief out of you, because they're asking you. Do you want to start tapping? Then you're over in the corner going, I could leave now. Yeah. Whereas you would have never thought that before. 100%. So you start questioning yourself, why am I thinking of leaving?
We're literally sitting right at the door here.
Yeah.
And the bar is over there, you know, it's busy, you can be out the door. And then does that happen often?
It actually doesn't.
Does it not?
It really doesn't, which is kind of a little strange in its own way. It doesn't actually happen that often. It doesn't, it's not bad luck, no. Salt, is it? You throw over the shoulder, is it?
Launch it through the window.
It actually doesn't, surprisingly enough. Now, we're very much deal with a lot of regulars. Now, if a group of people came here, the staff have the right to say, guys, do you mind if I take a card?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
that makes sense.
And nobody takes offence to being asked for a card.
Yeah, I was here a few years ago, and that was the crack. It was like, can I take your card? And then...
But here we're back into another problem, Bob.
What?
When they say we're hanging on to it, Irish people are like, fuck that.
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean you're hanging on to it?
Yeah. Do you get that?
Yeah, but like, where are we going to go with it? What are we going to do with it?
Well, it's like sometimes when you go into a hotel and they want your passport.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I'd rather give a card than a passport, but I agree with you, like a passport. But there again, if you're in a white English-speaking country and they ask for a passport, you wouldn't mind. Yeah. But if you're in Thailand, you might ask for a passport, you're like, fuck off. You know, but
very true.
The tipping thing, you see, as well, with the buyback thing, when you think about it, if you and I got into a bar, say, when there was, I still carry cash, but if there was cash, me and you'd go in, and what would be very common, you'd pull out 40, I'd pull out 40. We'd put it right in front of us.
Yeah.
So the girl would come along. So each time she's physically charging you.
Yeah. And you're not even handing it to her, she's just
it's there.
taking it out of your little
You could
pile.
go for a walk up the bar, come back around and all. Your cash would be still there.
Yeah.
It'll be probably under a napkin. She'll know it's there, you know it's there. Nobody steals it.
Yeah.
It's oddly they don't. Really don't. But that's where I think the buyback became more of a thing. She kind of probably physically felt on the fourth one, I have to give one now because I'm coming over here again, taken from this net. Whereas if she has the tab there in the computer, she just keeps hitting it.
Yeah.
Me and you don't realise when the fourth one comes and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's only a case of an extra tap, which is nothing like.
So then you think about it, right? Let's say you get a corporate card come in and people say, oh, will you give them their buyback? So you have a group of like 10 of them at $15 a drink, like that's $150 say for a round.
Yeah.
And you often get the odd waitress going, Johnny, there's a group of them down there, they've been in here since 4, we buy them around.
Yeah.
And my answer to that always is, okay, you're going to buy them $150 worth of drinks. They're not going to remember it 2 seconds there because it's a corporate card. They're going to say
corporate card,
you know, but even if it's one of their cards, genuinely,
they're just chancing their arm, I suppose.
But they're not going to remember it.
Yeah.
But all you've done now is you've reduced the check by $150.
Yeah.
That's less. They're going to tip you 20% on the total.
Yeah.
So you've screwed yourself and you probably screwed the house. I personally, what I've done now, it's a bit harder now since COVID with the inflation of all prices and food. I used to just give them curry chips. Because my theory was on it that a guy'd wake up the next morning with the curry in the cracks of his fingers and he'd remember, geez, they gave me them curry chips last night. He's never remembered a round I gave him.
100%. And even back home, it's like, you'd never get a free round.
No.
Maybe at the end of a meal or something, you get a limoncello or some shit like that.
Yeah, something he's trying to get rid of.
But what I love is like, I would have played rugby and we'd go in like fucking 20 of us go into the local and we'd be grand like, and then
the triangle sandwiches.
But after like you'd be there 5 hours and then they might bring out a load of cocktail sausages and chicken nuggets, probably cost them about €5 to make.
Yeah.
And you're thinking this
There's
is
a
the
couple
best
of bars
place
that are
ever.
genius at doing it.
Yeah.
Like Paddy's down in Ventry is like Young Park, always. You're in there in the evening time on a Saturday, boom. Hugh in the Boar's Head does it too.
Yeah.
There's a lot, I'm sure a lot of them do it. Willie in the Palace will do it. There will be lads that will, and we'll remember that.
Yeah.
But also think of it from our perspective. Now he's getting a bit of soakage into you.
Of course.
Now you're coming around a bit again, and then you keep going.
Yeah, it's not purely for niceness. It's because like if you're in a pub 4 or 5 hours, you're kind of looking around like, is it like
the lad's slowing off
subway
there,
around here or something? Just to
totally,
get in, and then they
100%.
smack. All you want is
100%.
a little bit of a munch, and then boom, you're another 5 or 6 pints.
Yeah.
But Johnny, take me back. You're here how long?
2001, May 2001.
And I find it because you always hear like you get lads who have been living over here with the mad mixed up accent.
Yeah, the Graham McDowell.
Yeah, you've luckily just kept the Dublin accent, and you're from
Rathcoole. I'm right on the border there, like yourself.
Yeah.
I'm like
Rathcoole into Kildare.
Into Kildare, yeah.
And when you got here, did you go straight into a bar, or what was the story?
I was in Australia for, like everybody, I did the usual, I went to Australia for 2 years, knew when I was leaving Australia that these hands wouldn't be doing construction, so I went working with my brother in a restaurant down beside the Opera House, so I went working and it was actually more of a coffee sort of thing, and when I came here, it was actually really hard to get into the bar business, because people didn't leave jobs back then.
Okay.
People didn't leave them, like they were career jobs, they were making great money, again it was cash. People, like even mothers were like, with young kids would come in and do 3 and 4 nights because you get cash, you didn't have to declare it. Lads were the same with Next thing, 9/11 unfortunately happened, and the amount I got here in the May. I worked 2 days a week for the whole summer. I worked Saturday and Sunday in a bar over in a bus terminal that's still there. All of my friends, my business partner, they've all worked through that bar. Okay. It was just a machine of like sort of a cash bar. As soon as 9/11, genuinely, I got 3 or 4 interviews in bars in Times Square. Never happened. Because a lot of people just got afraid and went home, and they just, the uncertainty, and they were gone home.
So there was much more, it was much easier to get a job then.
It was just freed up, it was so easy to get a job. Jeez. And that's how I started. I got a job then, I was in a place in Times Square. Then I worked for lads from Kells in Sidetracks for years. Then I went to Annie Moore's, just right here in Midtown. And then myself, Cottle, and another former partner of mine opened the Long Hall in 2015.
Brilliant. And what was the sort of, was that always in your head you'd like to open a pub, or was it a bit of not an impulse, obviously you couldn't be an impulse, but how long was that process of actually opening it?
Well, I genuinely think it's that like American dream type of thing, as in whether it's a construction company, whether it's a bar, whatever it is you want to get into. I'm not being like sort of cliche or cheesy about it. In New York, you actually see someone similar to you doing it, and then you think, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And that would have been like Macker, would have been Michael McNamee and Pat that owned Mean Fiddler and all them places, the McNamee Corporation. When I see Macker doing it, I say, well, if Macker can do it, we can do it. If you're a bartender here, to me, you have to aspire to own your own place.
Yeah, was that always in your head?
Yeah, but I think it should be in every young bartender's head because it's still doable here.
Yeah.
Like, now, you get in with the right people, as in New York. I think at home it's not doable.
No. Why? No, what's the difference like?
Well, I think a big factor of it too is not many people lease bars at home. Like, there's not a big lease thing. Lad feel he has to own the building. Now, I do see some very successful people in Ireland that have multiple bars. Like Alan Clancy, to name one. Alan doesn't own many of his buildings. But Alan has 33 places now, I think, or something. Whereas, and I wouldn't mind, the leasing culture is probably better at home.
But are they just ownned by like families that have just owned them for years, is it? You always wonder, like, you walk through Dublin and you're like, does anyone actually own these shops?
Well, it's a weird one, and I'm not talking out of school here because it was very public. Louis Fitzgerald owns Cafe Insane. He owns that building, but he doesn't operate Cafe Insane. which for one of the most well-known publicans in
Are you
Ireland.
calling a cafe insane, like as a joke?
Boy, what is it?
No, I thought
It should be.
it's. I think it's Cafe on Said, but I thought you were like
No, it's Cafe Insane.
Cafe Insane.
But genuinely, Louis owns that building.
Yeah.
And you would think, why doesn't Louis run the bar?
Okay.
But it's a group, a New York group that own that. Like now they're Irish.
Right, yeah,
but they own that. But I'm sure Louis loved to have it. But the lads have something like again, I could be corrected on this. They've definitely got close to a 30-year lease. So who really owns the building then?
Yeah.
Like Louis has an
that's
amazing.
signed, so he can't just come up and be
I'm
like,
sure
I want the
Louis has an
building back.
amazing rent deal that they're paying him a lot of money.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
great deal for him. But for a guy that's such a well-known publican, I'm sure to be in that case. I don't know most other cases. Nama was a big thing with a lot of them. So a lot of the bars that lads have, they went into Nama and then other guys get in and got them. That was a big thing.
Okay.
Somebody should get a bar in Ireland and call it Nama, shouldn't they?
Nah, mate.
Put that in the menu.
In terms of Guinness, like people, you always get the thing. People back home saying Guinness doesn't travel. Where do you stand on that? You've been here years.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say?
I think
to
in the
that?
Guinness snobbery from years ago from us.
Snobbery, yeah.
But it's also a bit of like territorial thing. We love that it's ours.
Yeah.
And I think that's great too. I like that people say that.
Yeah.
Because it's ours, it's Irish. It is great. And it's great that we can say that.
And what's the process here? Like it's the kegs, like from the keg being made to getting into that glass. Like, do the kegs come from the brewery in America, in Dublin, or what's the crack like?
There's always a couple of myths about it. Like, they were doing them in Canada for a while.
Yeah.
Then there was this thing with Africa and everything. To my knowledge, from what the lads tell us in Guinness, they come directly from Dublin.
From Dublin.
And they come directly into the port in New York now.
Yeah.
Or now, Baltimore have a massive...
Yeah,
like,
I'd love to go there.
Yeah, it's supposed to be fabulous.
It's 10
But
times better than the one in Dublin.
then everybody thinks, oh, they're brewing it down there. But they're not. They make all the hop. They're doing all the beers for all the other companies.
Yeah, right.
That's what they're doing there. So to my knowledge, that comes straight in from Ireland. Like, so I think with the whole travel thing, was as the Guinness in Ireland dipped and the Guinness in the rest of the world come up a little.
Do I think?
Yeah, not everywhere. But I remember being home a few times with friends of mine that would be well more into it than I would have been, even when I was drinking. And they'd be giving out a little bit about a few pubs. We'd go home for All Ireland's and stuff like that. Did it get better here? And did someplace drop off at home? Is the same love the same way it used to be years ago? I would like to think it is.
Johnny, it's really changed, and I'm not saying this because of anything I'm doing, but you wouldn't believe how much it's changed in the last sort of 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
With all this social media stuff.
What I was going to say, don't put yourself down. I would say the fear of lads like you for bars. Because everyone says, oh, them lads online, couldn't give a shit about them until they see them walking through the door.
Yeah, I know, but just general.
When I was a
Guinness
kid, I
sales.
remember being in my local and you would see your man, he was a local man in the Rathcoole Inn from C&C every Monday morning and every Tuesday morning. And I'd see my dad and friends of mine, they would be hitting them pubs on that night.
Because
they knew the lines were clean.
Yeah,
the love that went into them at home.
Yeah.
And it was a whole art like into it.
100%.
Yeah. But the whole bar industry is an art.
Yeah.
Like even the barmen at home, some of them are apprentices. They used to be apprentices. I don't know what they used to be. Like, isn't that amazing? Like, you know what I mean?
Bar apprentices.
But there'd be a lad that might be in the bar part-time and he'd be laughing at the other fella that's bringing the kegs in all the time. But the guy bringing in the kegs was the apprentice.
Yeah, right.
Like when I was explaining to you the other day about the Christmas drink. I couldn't believe you didn't know what a Christmas drink was.
Tell him about that.
I aged myself. He didn't know what a Christmas drink was. When you get your Christmas drink, like. I remember people in the local going down, did you get your Christmas drink off that bollocks yet? You know? And then the other fella be going...
smear talk behind the back.
But then the other fella be like, to be fair, you haven't been in here much this year. I'm in here every week. Yeah, but I'm here every night.
But there's no sort of... So basically, you're saying if someone's a local, like a proper not a fucking...
You're Ashbourne or whatever. I'm from
Ashbourne,
Rathcoole. Right, so I'm Rathcoole. How many pubs, whatever pubs there is in Ashbourne, there's 4 pubs in Rathcoole.
Right.
If you were a bar hopper in them, you weren't getting a pint.
Right.
You had to be loyally into one of them. You couldn't be seen walking in at 10 to 11 after being up in the other one playing pool.
But this is all just to get your one Christmas
This was all
like
to get
1 point.
Your 1 point. It was such a big deal. We're worried about getting the 4th one.
Yeah.
They have to worry
but
about getting one at
It
Christmas.
was probably like a status symbol that if you walked in and they offered you your Christmas drink, you didn't have to ask for it. It was like, I'm the dog's bollocks around here.
If you got one before Christmas in around there,
and
another fella's still hanging out on the 29th and he still hasn't got it, he could boycott that place come January.
That's too much to
I'll
handle.
tell you,
How the bar staff supposed to be like?
Well, the owner, I think the owner was kind of that was kind of the one.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause years ago as well, that's where Ireland has changed, and I'm not saying it's for the good or different. owners always worked pubs. Like,
Yeah.
Like,
You
that's
do find
why.
that in the country one, the old school ones.
Yeah.
60, 70, 8-year-old behind the bar,
Yeah.
pulling pints like there's no tomorrow, and it's
great.
it hits kind of different. Like.
Yeah, like the one Nace there, Thatcher's, I think it was, or was it whatever? As I said the name right, is it? But your man just sold it recently.
Okay.
He's in his 80s.
Yeah.
He's famously told Keith Richards to shut up in the bar, stop to sing, don't be singing.
Okay.
No music, no nothing.
Yeah.
And everyone went into it and they loved it. But he recently sold it. But they can't recreate that. They can't bring in a new young fella telling some fella that Dermot Kennedy to shut up singing like.
Dermot Kennedy, yeah, imagine.
You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way.
You get cancelled.
Yeah, but that's why the old school pub in Dublin, Ireland, whatever in general,
Yeah.
they're just amazing.
Yeah, and I think
They're amazing.
people really do crave that, like they call it the old man pub.
Yeah,
and you tend to get it outside of Dublin, but like a lot more in the country.
You are, yeah.
But you'd obviously get it as well.
But when you find the ones in Dublin that
Yeah.
are there, which clearly are without naming them, but they're
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
And that's what makes daytime drinking the best. Ireland is the best place in the world for daytime drinking. There's nowhere like it.
Daytime drinking turns into fucking
Yeah.
coppers.
I know, when you get older you won't. Believe me, you won't.
Well, I'm 29.
You'll be on the tee before you know it.
I'd say probably around 20, maybe 27. I just was like I love a few pints again, and it's good for what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Because I go around the pubs. I might go to 5 different pubs, but then I'm just like happy with that. Whereas
Yeah, that's
most
smart.
lads, maybe a couple of years younger than me or my age, you'd have to go then and they'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm in New York, where else am I going?
Yeah. They'll be on the Barry's tee then. They're heading for my room.
Yeah.
They're heading that direction.
So hopefully I
Either
can
that
hold-
or they're single.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, it's one or the other.
But let's kind of finish off with just tips for people coming over. So we talked about.
Oh yeah.
Did we? Let's go.
If you've
the
a group-
tax and the tipping.
Yeah.
So you go into a bar. We talked about the whole tab and all that sort of stuff. Let's say you pay for you get 2 drinks. You and the missus. You're only popping in, and then they bring you the bill, and say it was $18, but then the tax is added on after.
Yeah, which is
So
what,
it'll say, like,
18% or something, is it?
It might say 19.20 or something.
Yeah.
And then you give them your card, they take the 19.20 off, they give you your card back with 3 pieces of paper.
So true.
The fucking environment is fucked.
And the problem is,
Like
Irish
this.
people come now and they want to Apple Pay.
Yeah.
And now a lot of places are up to speed with now where they bring the Apple Pay.
Yeah.
But how does we get our tip then? Because if you come and you just tap it. So that's where the Apple Pay is the problem. So then if we
because actually, this is something I could not get my head around. It's like they take the card in the bar, you put it into the machine, but you don't need a pin or anything.
Yeah, I know.
And then probably sounds more weird to me than you because you're here so long.
Yeah. No, but you are right.
And then you get it back, and then they'll give you a card back. And like, yeah, have a great day. And then you sign how much of a tip you want to give.
Yeah.
And generally, like,
A
just
tip
be
is
honest. What
double the
is
tax.
the right double the tax?
Double the tax, people always used to say, but if there's food on it, so tax is really on a drink thing, is really only a newish thing.
And let's say if there's no food, you're just because I'm going around buying 1 pint in all these bars.
Honestly, and
I'm
nobody
giving
would
like
disagree.
$1.
I was just about to say, nobody would disagree. If Debbie gets $1 for every drink she pulls today, she'd be doing very well. She won't be too disappointed.
Yeah.
And that's the way you would look at it. And I would think, like, this 20% thing is fine if you have a big group and there's a few of you there, or if you sit down and you have a meal, that's fine. Listen, New York is expensive. It can be expensive in that way.
Yeah.
It really can. But if you have someone coming here for value, if you have a group of lads coming here, my suggestion to the lads would be, boys, do a kitty.
Right.
Get the responsible one if there is one in the group, and do a kitty. Go into a bar. And
The kitty cash.
you could do kitty cash. When they see cash now, they love it.
Yeah.
You see, a lot of places will have an actual cash register in it, and they'll charge you without the tax.
Okay.
And they'll do it. But if a bartender any decent bartender, which majority of them are all good,
Yeah.
they see that you are there with cash, and I would tip straight away. That'd be me. If I was in the group, and there'll obviously be one like giving out, but when you get the first round of 5 lads having a drink, throw your man $5 straight away.
Yeah.
You just have the kitty there. You're sitting at the corner of a bar,
Yeah.
buddy. That's for you. You know, the lads get it. The lads are getting it.
Yeah.
He will take care of the lads.
Yeah.
They will get a drink
He's like,
eventually.
these are sound, these are tipping.
And if he doesn't, move on.
Okay.
And it's not that you're there looking for the drink, but if he's taking care of you, if he's looking after you in some shape or form,
Yeah.
you'll realise that after 2 or 3 drinks, even by the way he's talking to you.
Yeah.
And then, but move on anyway. Go see other places.
Yeah, of course.
But do a kiddie and that type of thing. Also, when you get the receipt, read it and make sure they have an added gratuity on it.
Okay.
So if you have a party of 6, they will have that on their menu. A parties of 6 or more, an automatic added gratuity of 18 to 20%. It'll say that on the menu. But a lot of bars will add it anyway.
Yeah.
If there's 3 or 4 lads. And people at home might think, well, why would they do that in cheek of it? You think about it, like someone like Debbie there gives a whole corner up to a group of lads, and she's serving them for 2 and 3 hours, and the lads leave her $5 at the end of it.
Okay.
That ain't going to pay her rent.
Yeah.
So she is well entitled to add the gratuity.
But if that's added, then
you're covered. Don't leave anything.
Don't anything. And that's fine.
I genuinely would with the older older generation. Genuinely, when I was bartending, I used to add the gratuity, and when I bring it down, I tell them, guys, everything's included there, and the relief on their face.
Yeah. They're not scrambling going, how much do we give?
People are not cheap. Irish people are not cheap.
No, not at all.
It's the confusion that gets them.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. It is a bit like intimidating and confusion. How much am I to leave here? What am I to do? You know, it's not our culture. So I get it. Like, you know, Scottish people, they just straight off the bat, they're not tipping you. Don't give a shit. Like, don't worry about that. Like, they don't care.
Fair enough. And last question, what would you say is the biggest differences? It's probably quite a broad question, but in terms between Irish and American pub culture.
Oh, I thought you were going to say in general. I was going to say you can beep your car here and nobody follows you for about 2 miles. Like,
that'd be a very general question.
Yeah, like in Ireland.
Yeah, just general pub culture.
Genuinely, and without being like harsh on Ireland, and I've spoke to like a few of the publicans I named there at home about this. I think the respect level here towards the service industry is amazing.
Okay.
I don't think we necessarily have that respect at home towards them.
Yeah,
we
so
just look at them.
Look at them like, you're just working in a bar.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's something I don't think we've ever been able to shake at home.
And so you're saying then here it's like,
you've seen it, I'm sure. You
like,
see it here. This bar could be packed, and all them lads will stand there, and they'll see Debbie run up and down. They'll wait for her.
Yeah.
Whereas at home, I think we're a little bit more like.
Yeah, I remember you were saying it's kind of like. At home, you might kind of be leaning over the counter and be like, here, any chance of a drink? And
which is fine in a packed nightclub. We'd all do that. But
Yeah.
I think there's an element at home of like, we just don't respect the service industry.
Okay.
I don't think we, in general, respect. I think COVID has changed it a lot. I think the younger generation probably respect it a lot more.
Yeah.
Whereas an older generation, it's kind of like, I remember years ago somebody saying to me about bartending, actually just every man's slave. That was kind of a net, and I was like going, and I wasn't in
that to you.
I know I wasn't in the industry at the time.
Okay, yeah.
And a fellow said, no, you're just every man's slave, and he wasn't saying it like as in directed at any one person.
Yeah.
But it was just probably the way he's seen the way people were treated at home.
Right.
But again, is the respect level great here now because of the tipping thing and the buyback?
Yeah.
So your man's there going, she controls my free drink, my fourth free drink.
Yeah, definitely.
So if I can go to her. But people
it's like being good in school or something.
People in New York come to see bar people, as I said earlier on. Like they genuinely do.
Yeah.
You go Tuesday night, where are we going? Ray's working. Let's go to such and such on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, like I think I was in Boston and I've probably been in about 10 or 12 pubs in the last few days, and like they really are like the person behind the bar. There's so much. The people on the other side of the bar, they love them, and they're chatting to them, and they can't wait for them to come over and have a chat with them, and they're like the star of the bar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not just the worker.
Like a female, and again, this is not like really directed at Ireland, but we're a bit old school in a way. A female could walk into a bar in New York here and walk up and sit up there, and she'd just sit there to have her drink and have a lunch at the bar.
Yeah.
If that was in Ireland, I don't know if you can cut this out, we'd be going like, she's bleeding mad for it. You know, she's in the bar on her own. Or it's not even that she's mad for it, but she's, what's the story with her?
It would look weird, yeah.
What's the story with her?
Yeah.
And like, it's 2022.
You do see, and obviously it was grand for me because I'm going around by myself, but it is very normal over here for people to pop in 1 or 2 beers and gone home. Like.
But that's to defend us as well. Like, how are we the alcoholics, the Irish? Like, an American guy will walk in there and sit there and order a vodka martini straight up, and he'll have 3 of them, and he'll head off for the train and go home. Like, and we're the dipsos.
Yeah, we kind of
now a bit like your mates or few of your mates. Yeah. We probably wouldn't go home. Maybe that's the difference.
Exactly. That's because they know they can do it.
We can't drink. That's what it should be. It's not that we are the big drinkers. Yeah. I just think culturally wise, America's very open to just anything, sitting along the bar, and it's very much a bar culture. Yeah. But you could be a head guy.
Always sitting at the bar.
They love a bar.
I'm not. Never sit at the bar.
Yeah, they love a bar seat.
Yeah.
But again, what is that? That you don't like it and they do? because they want to engage.
Yeah.
Now, again, as Irish people, we'd probably like, fucking this noisy yank coming in here now trying to chat to us.
Yeah, I know.
There might be a little bit of that in us, whereas they'll be in talking straight away.
I'll be totally honest, like if I go to a pub like that, I don't know if it's a respect thing, but like, it sounds hard. I have no interest in chatting to, I just want to chat to my mates. I have no interest in chatting to...
But do you ever go, well, you do for work, say, but would you ever go into a pub on your own to have a pint? That's not work related. But if you did, I'm sure you have. And there's a seat over there in the corner of the bar, and there's a table over there.
Yeah.
You're going with the buffer zone. You're going with the table.
Yeah.
And that's to keep the fear. But don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Because what I should have backed up with there, the barmen at home are similar enough too. Yeah. They don't want to fucking engage either. I was in a certain bar in Dublin. I'll finish on this.
They're like, don't fucking come up to me.
I was in a certain bar in Dublin, right? I walk in with my man, Dad, boom. Dad gets a Guinness. Me or my mother weren't drinking. I get a cup of tea. Your man doesn't say boo to us. Very well known pub, and he goes, yeah. He just does the head tilt, right?
Yeah.
Gets that. Round 2 comes around. He hasn't talked to us at all. And now because I'm coming from here, I'm thinking, should he? Maybe shouldn't. Anyway, he's very good. The tea came with the biscuit, the whole lot. Yeah. I'm looking in and I see the bottle of my Waddy, or the TK lemonade. And a bit nostalgia, I hadn't had one in years.
Right.
And I was like I said to me, Dad, you having another pint? And he says, yeah. And I said to him, do you mind if I get a TK lemonade? Still nothing.
Yeah.
It's all head and all nothing.
Yeah.
When I went to pay him for the TK lemonade, I said, how much are you for that? Nah, you're okay, you're with your man, Dad, you can have your TK lemonade on the house. And my dad loved it. And my man loved it. And I was like going, and my dad was like, oh, you get a ticket. I said, I've no problem with the remark. He hasn't said boo to us since we get in here. And the first chance he gets, he puts the boot in on me.
Yeah.
And I loved it at the same time. I loved it.
That's so Irish. That's the biggest difference, I think, is over here, I've always said, like, even though it's mostly Irish people in the bars, not even at the bars, but like the American version of being friendly is, how are you? Have a great day. Like it's actually being friendly. The Irish version of being friendly is completely ignoring someone, but maybe giving them something for free.
And everyone's happy.
Yeah.
Like since we've been sitting here, she hasn't stopped talking.
Yeah.
Debbie's up and down that bar making conversation with them lads.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
You are right. It's both at home and it's both here.
It's the polar opposite.
The bartender and the customer here want to engage because it helps her tip. He's killing his lunch break and he's like, geez, Debbie's great, throw her an extra tip. The lad in Dublin, he'll give you a tip if you leave him alone.
Yeah.
And the barman is happy as well.
Yeah, if he starts talking, it's like, I'll give you $5 to just leave me at it.
Now there's a fine line here. There's a lad that comes in who doesn't want to talk. And a really good bartender can read the room.
Yeah. Right, Johnny.
Great chatting to you. Likewise.
Thank you very much. Brilliant.
That was Kyo's, by the way.